Blog Talk Radio.
Transition, the process of change from one condition to another.
We are now at a new crossroads where change is evident once again.
What does not serve us must transform us anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future. Shedding the layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition, not exactly remarkable, ongoing reality.
Welcome to Transition Radio.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Angelo, your host.
And I am Lynna, Arielle Lopez, your hostess.
We are broadcasting live from the beautiful land of enchantment, Silver City, New Mexico.
This time we wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you can imagine to enhance your feminizing needs.
As well as Spunk Lube, which is an award-winning personal lubricant that's glycerin-free, non-staining, 100% sex toy safe with all materials, and it is fun to use.
Visit their website at spunklube.com to check out their amazing line of products.
And if you use the code TR, you will receive a 10% discount.
And if you enjoy our show, please tell your friends and neighbors. Share our website and donate if you can.
Well, guess what? It is Monday, and today we have current events and the supernatural lined up just for you. Yes, it is a new week.
Mm-hmm.
Monday.
Well, actually started Sunday. That was a new week.
That was a new week. That's how it goes.
Yeah, because Sunday's the first day of the week, and then Monday, and then Saturday becomes the 7th.
Okay.
But, we don't do that in the United States. We, take our Sundays off here.
Yes. There's a lot of things that we do very differently here in the United States. Mm-hmm. Although we think we are the super country, we're actually very much behind. Anyway, we want to take the time to thank everyone that's joining us. And if you want at any time, please feel free to call in at 646-716-6895. Again, that's 646-716-6895.
We get lonely out here.
Yes, we do.
Call.
Yes, definitely. Well, nothing out of nothing or infinite intelligence. This is the supernatural part of the show. Immortality opens up infinite intelligence as thoughts. Or could be a question. Immortality opens up infinite intelligence as thoughts. My mind connected to your mind once more like a single snowflake. We know we each are unique as an identifier. What if the intelligence behind our consciousness is the source of us all?
Who we each are now, our alien to the future, is actually an ET from the past. So, who is in charge of this immortal play that goes on forever, or so it seems, based on the fact that we see history as clues left in forms of material things on this planet? If not an infinite intelligence we call source, then what?
Yes, then what? Well, we have already accepted that we know there is more to the universal order than nothing from something. Now there are humanoids, wanting to believe they know that they were created from nothing over what they believed happened over time, that now they say did not exist in the beginning.
So, if there was no space and time in the beginning, and we already know there is no space and time, then how can the vacuum of nothing prove anything to our own existence? The paradox of knowing that we are consciousness and that thoughts are things has kept us moving forward all these eons and eras in time. And yet now we are told there is no such as time and space, which sounds alien to us.
The ET or extraterrestrial in me that has an internal voice with a connection to a source of energy that is said can never end assures me that we are all unique as identifiers with internal cameras that are here recording everything we do as individuals that will return to the big picture, which evaluates and analyzes all that is called infinite intelligence. I know this sounds a little weird and it's a little like tongue twister, but the world as we know it is not exactly as we see it.
That is true.
Because we have been very much dumbed down, have been told how to think, have been placed in little boxes, and we don't question these things.
Well, I mean, religion has made it very much evident that that's how it should be, but that's not how things really are.
If we look at the bigger picture, how old the earth actually is, the fact that there are more than just this one universe. There are many parallel universes. What I've read and seen a lot of documentaries and done a lot of research, that there are many universes and there are many of us in different dimensions. So the ETs of the past are now, or let's say how would I explain this? The ET of the past were us in the future. And there's like time is not as linear as we try to make it seem.
I'm just trying to put, my head around this whole concept. And this whole article has kind of flown over my head, but in a way I'm trying to understand where it's coming from. And basically the gist of it is saying that there is much more out there than we accept here on this planet as being real.
Or that our little minds could comprehend, because our minds are still developing. Even though we think we're so super developed,
right,
we're still like babies.
Well, there's there's a bunch of different Earth planets in the known, place called space.
Exactly.
That are even being discovered all the time. As technology advances and the Hubble Space Telescope, I think it started back, in the 90s and stuff, or 80s, and now the pictures that it is getting are even more clear, sharper, more high resolution, and detailed to the extreme, so that now they can see things that people couldn't see before.
We're seeing that new star systems are being developed, and we are but a speck of sand in the grand
scheme of everything.
Yeah, exactly. I can't even think of a word, because we're just a small little planet, and we think the world revolves around our planet, but our planet is just very small compared to the many other planets and other life forms that are out there. We can't even get along with our own kind. Imagine if we had to get along with other species that look totally different from us, have totally different lifestyles from us, communicate differently, eat differently, do different things. We are not ready yet. So we're still evolving as a species. We're very young. And I think religion, to tell you the truth, has done us a major injustice.
Well, here's a really healthy number that you could probably not put your head around. But they say that 40 billion habitable Earth-sized planets are in our galaxy. 1 out of every sun-like star has a planet the size of the Earth orbiting. So, 40 billion habitable Earth-type planets. And who are we to say that we're the only kind of planet that is habitable? Because we have oxygen,
exactly.
Other life forms could be using nitrogen or, other gases that we don't even know exist,
Exactly.
So, I don't know. I think that there's a lot to be said and a lot for people to understand. And a lot of times religion, frankly, just gets in the way of it all and puts a block.
Well, I think that is all going to change, and it's going to change very quickly, because we're going through a quickening and evolution of our species, and we are finally starting to realize that we're not the only ones that are around. There have been so many UFO sightings that have been tried to be put under the rug. They've tried to hide it. They've tried to make it seem like it's a weather balloon or it's a bird or it's...
we just watched a documentary on a 1997 March 13th encounter that not just one person but several people encountered in, a period of like a few hours in Phoenix, Arizona, that has never yet been fully researched or anything, because our country here in the United States, they still choose to turn a blind eye to it.
Oh, definitely.
Or to cover it up.
Because then religion would lose its hold on humanity. Because then, wow.
Is that really the reason you think that they do it?
Well, I think that's part of the reason. And I think also, remember that, I don't know if you do or not, the World of the Wars, where there was this radio show that it pretended that it was people half to death and people were freaking out.
In the 50s.
So maybe our government just doesn't think that we are ready for something like that, or who knows why the cover-up is, because there have been hundreds and hundreds and not thousands of UFO sightings. And
There was one in November 7, 2006. A metallic disc was observed hovering over the United Airlines terminal for at least 5 minutes in Chicago before shooting straight up into the sky at great speed, cutting a hole in the cloud bank. This was not a flying machine known to any of the aviation experts who witnessed or later analyzed the event. I mean, this is stuff that happened that nobody has an explanation for. And the government, our government, doesn't want to play with the rest of the governments out there that are begging, they're begging the United States to take the lead on it. And even our own John Podesta, one of the White House staffers who's leaving, he supports, the effort to appoint a government staffer for this purpose, to man a position to have, research done on this type of phenomenon.
And they've got hundreds and hundreds of documents and proof and things that they just kept under lock and key because they don't want this to be exposed or put out there. Anyway, if you guys have ever had any type of UFO experience, we welcome you to call in at 646-716-6895. Every Monday we will be talking about the supernatural, paranormal, things of this nature. So we welcome your story, your information. You can email it to us at transitionradioshow@gmail.com and share that information, and we will read it out if you're too shy to call. Moving forward, so Bigfoot strikes again.
Sasquatch?
Sasquatch,
no
yes.
Way.
Could it be Bigfoot on a family vacation? The latest alleged footage of the mythical creature shows 4 dark figures traipsing through the snow near the iconic Old Faithful geyser in the Yellowstone National Park.
The original video landed on YouTube in December from user Mary Greeley, but recently started garnering attention from believers, naysayers, and the curious alike. The majority of the 3.5-minute clip focuses on several bison roaming in the foreground.
But an avowed Bigfoot believer who calls himself Thinker Thunker on YouTube grabbed hold of the video in January, and in an 11-minute analysis argues that the 4 single-file creature in the background are Bigfoot. He basically rules out that the alleged Bigfoot could be people because of how he interprets their bodily dimensions, their speed, and their intelligence for standing so close to the wild buffaloes. Park officials don't seem to be convinced.
So Bigfoot might actually exist?
I think there's more than just one Bigfoot. Because, you know the movie Star Wars, Chewbacca?
Mm-hmm.
I think there is a species, and I've actually read some things about this and saw several documentaries saying that Bigfoot is a species that actually lives in the core of the earth, and they come out every so often, and it's part of the Chewbacca species, which is from another planet.
So they're actually aliens that make this earth their home, possibly.
Yes.
But, they live a more, agrarian-type lifestyle because they're not very modern.
No, they're not.
They usually hang out in the woods.
Right.
There's even a show that kind of pokes fun at this. If it's not funny, that's one thing. But any show, they're always trying to make money, So there's this show out there that, they show people being frightened and stuff, and talking about how they're all scared of these, encounters with these Bigfoot and stuff like that. And, it's like a big game. But the reality is that there have been real encounters with these creatures that are larger than humans could ever be. Some could be 13 feet tall,
right?
And massive, and
there's nothing
powerful.
There's nothing for us to be afraid of these particular creatures, because aliens are not all unfriendly. And as a matter of fact, I don't think there's too many unfriendly aliens, but we have been taught to fear aliens. Heck, we fear each other. It's like we live in this world that's fear-based and anger-based, and I think that there are a lot of aliens amongst us, and these big creatures are probably more afraid of us and think that if we find them, we're going to want to kill them, experiment on them, and so forth and so on.
Well, I think wild buffalo aren't afraid of the Bigfoot
of course
creature,
not.
Because they were able to get really close to them.
Exactly. And, animals have this understanding. We humans still fail to understand a lot of things. And, it's because we're so materialistic and so power hungry and so
money driven.
Yes.
So, do we create these monsters? A fallen world and its people. The nature of this beast is to collect trinkets of no meaning, be famous, and destroy self at all cost, all to fit in society's perfect box. How perfect is it? Talking about, the latest on Whitney Houston's daughter, Bobbi Kristina, she was abusing heroin, cocaine, and other drugs. Bobbi Kristina Brown, like her doomed mom, Whitney Houston, who I adored, was using drugs before she was found unconscious in a bathtub, according to People magazine. The 21-year-old daughter of Houston and R&B singer Bobbi Brown was regularly taking heroin, cocaine, and Xanax in the months before she was rushed to a Georgia hospital on January 31st, the magazine reported.
That's an awful mix. Anyway, Xanax was one of the drugs found in Houston's system after she drowned in a bathtub at Beverly Hills Hotel on February 11, 2012. A source told People that Bobbi Kristina, in the weeks before the tragedy at her home in Roswell, Georgia, was distraught about the coming third anniversary of her mother's death.
The aspiring singer/actress was also in and out of rehab for her demons, like her mom, including heavy drinking, since her mother's death, the source indicated. Bobbi Kristina was hospitalized for depression almost immediately after Houston passed away.
It seemed that was like a family type of genetic thing, because Whitney Houston also suffered from a lot of depression. This girl was trying hard, but she didn't have any support system. The source told People she was still dealing with a lot of grief over her mother. This comes to my constantly telling my clients, my patients, my girlfriends, plural. I mean, it's like you can't live life.
I'm talking about me.
Yes, but I was talking. I'm not just telling you, because I've told other people that, some people think that I could be heartless, that I have no compassion. It's not a matter of not having compassion, being heartless. It's one thing I've learned, that if you hold on to negative energy, it will destroy you. Yeah. If you hold on to the past, it will destroy you. Right. And right here, we've got a perfect example of this. And like this, many people who still hold on are still grieving the death of someone they love, maybe 10, 15 years later, the job they lost, whatever problem they may have had 5, 10, 1 year ago, whatever it is. If you still hold on to that, you're going to destroy yourself. Because feelings are energy, and energy, unless it's put into some form of positive use, will eat away at the person.
So she may have been dealing with guilt,
That too. All sorts of feelings. Guilt, fear, anger, all these things that you just hold on to will destroy you. I always tell people, feel it, own it, then let it go.
The crazy part, though, about this whole thing is that it's very remarkably similar to her late mother's death.
Exactly.
Bobbi Kristina, she's hospitalized right now, but she's
brain dead.
She's brain dead.
She's dead. They're just keeping her alive by a machine.
Keeping her alive by a machine, right?
Yeah. Toxicology reports on Whitney Houston show the singer had marijuana, Xanax, muscle relaxant Flexeril, that's a heavy mix, and the over-the-counter medication Benadryl, all put you to sleep, in her system at the time of death. You can't breathe with that stuff. It just slows your breath, and then boom, you die.
Bobbi Kristina, like I said, remains in a medically induced coma at Emory University Hospital in Atlanta 3 weeks after she was discovered by her boyfriend, Nick Gordon.
You were talking about that same exact thing. Now, I kind of wonder, and this, call it a conspiracy, but the majority of performers, whether they're singers, actor, any kind of entertainer, I believe they kind of sell their soul to the devil. It's part of the Illuminati type of thing. And they all have, like, okay, you're going to have fame and fortune, but when it's time, it's going to cost you.
We're going to come for it.
And the time that, whatever you want to call it, the devil, the dark side, whatever it is, wants a sacrifice, they're going to come for you.
Right.
They're going to come for your kids. They're going to come for you. And it might be like the whole trail of the entire family. Mm-hmm. And when it's time to pay the piper, there you go.
It's time to pay. And there's no mercy at that point because you basically signed yourself off. I've heard accounts of where Elvis Presley actually signed his life off to, being given the riches and all the fame and everything if he would sell his soul off to
exactly.
the devil,
Who was that other singer? I can't think of his name, but he actually said it on one of the interviews. Yeah, I sold my soul to the devil.
Rock singer?
Yeah, he was a singer. He doesn't sound that great. I can't think of his name now. I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. Something with a D.
So he just...
Yeah, he admittedly
gave the account.
Yeah, admitted it completely.
Because these people are in Hollywood, are in the music and the...
Bob Dylan, yeah, okay. That's who it was. And he's caught on video somewhere saying, I sold my soul to the devil. Just as simple as that. And I had a dream once that Ellen DeGeneres had actually told me that if I wanted to become famous, I would have to give my soul to the devil. And I was on this bus, and I was like, let me off on the next stop because I'm not interested. And, society feels a lot of pain about many things. And instead of resolving these pains, they hold on to them, and then they end up trying to numb the pain with things that they shouldn't be taking, like drugs and alcohol, and whether it's food, whether... you name it. I mean, I think we're pretty messed up as a species, and it's because we are not in tune with who we truly are.
So it turns into some kind of a super huge problem.
Yeah, because eventually...
Because at first, if you were to be able to control it, then it wouldn't be as big of a deal. If you, like you said, own it. What is it you said?
Own it. Feel it,
and
then let it go. Let it go.
Own it, feel it, then let it go. That's a good one.
Yeah. And I've always said that to people. Instead, people, they don't own it because they try to blame everybody else.
Hold it, claim
it, and hold on to it, and let it fester.
And then hold it, keep it in.
Yeah, and then it kills you. And that's why we have diseases, and that's why we have all sorts of mental disorders, and that's why the world is the way it is, because we're all connected. So we are creating our wars. We are creating our disaster because we are not doing the work.
Are we even creating our own, superbugs?
Yes, we are creating our own superbugs, and that brings us to our next section here. It's called Understanding CRE, which has got a huge name. I'm going to have a hard time pronouncing it. Yeah, the nightmare superbug that contributed to death in LA. There's been a lot more death than that, but we're going to talk about this right now. The term nightmare bacteria does not bode well for anyone who may get infected. That's what CDC epidemiologist calls, carbapenem-resistant enterobacteriaceae, or CRE, which kills up to half the patient who contracts them.
I'm so glad you didn't give me that.
I know, right?
The family of superbugs made headlines 2 years ago when the Center for Disease Control and Prevention warned it was spreading. Now they're back in the news after 7 patients at a Los Angeles hospital caught CRE after routine endoscopic treatments for bile ducts, gallbladder, or pancreas.
2 of them have died, the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center said Wednesday. CRE was a contributing factor in their death, but the exact cause of the death wasn't immediately disclosed, a hospital spokeswoman said. The medical center is contacting 179 others who had endoscopic procedures between October and January.
It's offering them home tests to screen for the bacteria. So what happened here?
These people had a routine procedure, an endoscopic procedure of their pancreas and forth and so on, and the actual tools that were used could have had the bacteria. Exactly.
Oh,
yeah.
How dangerous are superbugs? Here are some important things to know about the deadly disease. What is CRE? It is a family of bacteria usually found in hospitals and other healthcare facilities that has evolved a huge resistance to antibiotics.
And that's because we're an antibiotic crazy society.
Germ killer.
Yeah, exactly. And bacteria soap, so our body has no resistance towards bacteria. CRE can be so deadly because few antibiotics work against its different variations. That's what the name carbapenem-resistant means. Carbapenem is a class of antibiotics often used as a last resort against a bad bacterial infection.
But they are no match for CRE. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said, how can you get it? You don't get it when somebody sneezes on you. You have to touch an infected wound or stool, then touch a vulnerable part of the body like an open wound. That's why it doesn't spread on the streets, but instead in hospitals where healthcare workers and others can spread it by touch.
Someone may forget to wash their hands after coming in contact with stool or a wound, or a procedure could be performed with a contaminated instrument like an endoscope or a surgical device. But CRE can also spread from other soil invasive medical inserts like respiratory tubes or catheters.
Those infected are usually patients being treated for some other ailment. These patients have underlying health conditions which may have left them more susceptible to CRE and other infections.
But some researchers warn that CRE could be spilled over into the streets too if they become more widespread in hospital. Staph infection is one of the very big things that always happens in hospitals. And I mean, there's always these superbugs coming across. And again, a lot of it has to do with not washing your hands correctly or the excess amount of antibiotics that we've been given. New bacteria are like evolving. They're getting stronger. And our bodies are just so weak. Our immune system have been so weakened down by the life that we're living that our bodies can't fight diddly squat.
It seems like, that these, like I was being hospitalized for like 7 days in El Paso when I was, involved in my accident. But basically, these facilities, these medical facilities are harbingers for all kinds of diseases and stuff because it's a controlled environment and there's sick people. And there's, surgeries going on, and people, if they don't do their proper duty and clean themselves and, make sure that the surgical devices aren't contaminated or someone's taking your blood and they came in contact with someone's stool before, but they didn't wash their hands.
Well, bottom line, there are people that are overworked, underpaid. There's not as many healthcare workers that should be. A nurse could be taking care of 10 patients, and she's overwhelmed and maybe, become a little lazy, not wash your hands correctly, and so forth and so on. I mean, it's a scary thing. Bottom line is stay away from hospitals because there are more deaths from people that go into hospital for one thing and they come out with something else, usually complications from a bacterial infection or a wrong medical procedure that was done, cutting the wrong leg off or so forth and so on, getting surgery that will actually complicate things even further.
Right.
Well, Bruce Jenner.
Oh, yeah. Isn't he on, cereal boxes?
Yeah, the only reason we're even bringing this up again is because we watched the video. We won't mention names, but they're now trying to make him into the spokesperson because he's a great athlete, and how dare he make any money with this reality show that he wants to make, and he needs to just come out because all trans people are so upset at her because, they need more better spokespeople and blah, 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 blah.
I can't believe that they're not upset at him for not changing his name already.
Oh, I know. Well, that's next. You know how it goes.
Like, Bruce, why are you changing your name?
And why aren't you, coming out and lobbying for us and marching for us and,
Well, I mean, the Kardashian family is known for all their reality shows, right? So
yeah.
Bruce, I'm sure, is sitting around watching these people making money hand over foot.
Yep.
Why can't he get in on action?
Exactly. If Janet Mock could charge $10,000 to appear for 30 minutes at some sort of rally, then why can't he make money?
Right.
If Laverne Cox can make all his money by doing all the things that she's doing, and, hey.
And for those that don't know who Laverne Cox or Janet Mock are, they're advocates in the transgender community that, we are very familiar with. But, Bruce Jenner is Bruce Jenner. He's a human.
Right.
Or she is a human person. So, I mean, why do they have to be a trans person that is part of a trans community? Why can't you just be a human that chooses to identify differently?
Exactly. And no one owes the trans community a thing. Anyway, on that note, we're going to end with the affirmation for Monday, which is... creative energy surges through me and leads me to new and brilliant ideas. Let's stop destroying one another. Let's stop thinking that the world owes us anything. We are all in this together. There's not one special group or one group that has been beat upon more than the other. If we stop playing the victim approach, I believe that your life will improve, and that includes all minority, everyone. You are responsible for your life. No one else is.
Well, I think that everybody should use their creative energy to do positive good in the world around them and also for themselves, instead of wasting their time doing things and being caught up in things that don't mean anything.
Definitely. So, guys, stay tuned for Wednesday broadcast. It's going to be what?
Health and fitness.
Yes, we talk about all sorts of health and fitness stuff and new things and all sorts of wonderful things. Remember, guys, email us if you have any question, concern, or want us to share anything at 646-716-6895 is the number. Email us at transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Stay tuned for Wednesday. And now, remember, if you can't live your truth,
then it's just not worth living.
All righty then. Good night, folks. Have a good one.